Hello YouTube, welcome. This is Mommy So True. Welcome to my channel. I'm here to talk about narcissistic abuse, toxic relationships, emotional abuse, going through the ups and downs and the demonic torture of this life. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on today's video, and thank you for stopping by. If you're anything like me, you might have grew up with a family that looked good to outsiders. You grew up with that parent that probably told you to smile, put your chest up, look good, be pretty, and act like everything is okay. If you dealt with this type of toxic family dynamic, today's video is for you. I am going to more specifically talk about the narcissist parent and the daughters. Specifically 2 daughters, because that is my personal experience. I am going to talk about the never-ending world war between the siblings of a narcissistic parent, more so a mother for me. And actually, you guys, my dad plays a role in this narcissistic dynamic, and I'll talk more about him later on too. I don't want you guys to think that I'm always shifting stuff on my mother. I'm not going to say blame, because that's not what this is. We're not blaming anyone. We're just calling shit out as it is. We're just trying to understand the truth of our experience so we can heal and overcome this, because honestly, that's what it takes. You need to really understand why you went through it. You need to understand the sickness behind it, the evil behind it, the spiritual battle behind it. And once you start understanding it, it makes more sense and it helps you heal. It takes time. Trust me, I've been on this recovery journey for years. When it comes to my mother and my childhood and the childhood trauma behind it, that's why I'm bringing up today's video, because it's holiday time, you guys. And for a lot of y'all like me, you probably don't really spend holidays with your family like you should if you had a healthy family. You can't even be around them. I don't go around my family like I used to. It's probably been about 7 years now since I relocated to another state, away from my mother, away from my siblings. And gosh, I love them. I love my siblings. It's not intentional. It's definitely intentional, but it was not to hurt nobody. It was not to be evil. It was for me to protect my peace and for me to now live a fulfilling life for myself. Because growing up in this type of dynamic, you definitely feel like you are not good enough. I spent too much of my life doing that, and baby, we not doing that no more. Like I said, the narc woke me up. It took me a while to wake completely up, but I'm awake now. I grew up in a household that made me feel pressure to always criticize myself. My mother never gave me the approval to be myself. Never having validation from a mother who is supposed to nurture you, it leaves you living a life feeling like you are so insignificant. You just feel like you don't fit in. You just always running to people that make you feel like you are just awkward, like there's something off about you. This is all part of the devil's intention to block you from your destiny. I'm telling y'all this because this is my life's testimony. If you went through this from childhood, the devil used your parent to try to stop you from being your greatest self. That's why they tear down your self-esteem as a child. All the name calling, nothing you ever did was good enough for mom. It was only good enough if it pleased her though, right? Or if it made her look good, or if it made the family look good, or if it made your sibling look good. So now let's dive into this sibling situation. Going through this type of abuse definitely showed me that we do not choose our family. I didn't choose to come into a family that didn't know how to love, that didn't know how to accept me for me, that didn't know how to praise me and uplift me and motivate me and inspire me. I didn't choose that. I sure as hell didn't. When it comes to the siblings, specifically daughters of a narcissist, it's a lifetime competition between the 2 of you. And if it's more than one sibling, it's going to be a lifetime competition between all of y'all. Everybody has a role to play in the household. the weak and ignored child, the one that gets no type of love and attention, the one that gets forgotten. Birthdays get forgotten. Sometimes they don't even remember your name. I call that the it child. You're just there. You just exist, kinda. Then we got the golden child, the ones who are super praised. Everything is about them. Or if they're sick, their sicknesses are just overly exaggerated. Or you got those narc parents who enable those sickly golden children. Like, for instance, my sister, the one who's just 3 years younger than me, I'm the oldest of 5. And she was born a premature, and my mother always used that as a crutch for her to be the baby. Even now that she's almost in her 30s, she's still treated as a baby. She's still pacified. She just got a license at about 29 years old. My mother has enabled her to be this sickly, weakly child. And she's still like that even in her adulthood. It's so sad to watch. My entire life, it's always kind of seemed as if she has put us against each other. And it was confirmed when my sister came to live with me when I was 18 years old. My freshman year in college, my sister called me from a mental institution that my mother sent her to, because when I left the home and went to college, the tables had turned. Now she was being treated like a scapegoat. All the chores on her. She was responsible for watching the little siblings. Couldn't have a life. She couldn't call friends. She couldn't hang out. She couldn't do things that I never was allowed to do. I was not allowed to leave the house. I couldn't have friends. I couldn't have a life. I was pretty much a mom. Woke up, cooking, cleaning, going to school. Wake up, cooking, cleaning, going to school. That was my life until I left my mother's home. So when I left, it was now her turn. And she couldn't handle it. And she developed bipolar disorder. And I had to be the one to save her because I was the big sister. I got away, moved out, had my own apartment. I'm in college, 2 hours away. Sis had to come live with me. When she came to live with me, she spilled out so much about how she's always felt she was in competition with me, how my mom has always told her to be more like me, how she always felt like she had to compete with me academically. She never felt smart like me. I was the overachieving daughter because my mother made it seem like I couldn't get love unless I was coming home with A's. So I made that a priority. And my sister the whole time was processing that as competitive or competition and also programming that as conditional love. And she tried, but couldn't achieve that. She tried to give my mother love in ways that she thought was needed. And the supply that my mother needed from her was to stay sick and to stay weak. So she could use her to be vulnerable to outsiders. Use her to get things that she might have needed to get through her life. Narcissistic mother and 2 daughters or siblings, it's always a mess. It's always drama. There's always some kind of fight in the household, some kind of bullshit going on, somebody being blamed for something that's not true, lies upon lies, complete manipulation, mom telling one person something, telling the other something else. It's like she's just programming, and fathers do it too. That's why I keep using the word parent, because it's not always just mom. It's not always just dad. Sometimes it's one or the other, or it's both. And as time goes on with these siblings, they get older, and the one that becomes the golden child in the older years, they get so disrespectful. They get so disrespectful to the scapegoat. Oh my God, they are so much on defense mode for that narcissistic parent, especially if they're still living with them or if they're taking care of them, or it's like they're just best friends. They get tighter with age. They get more destructive with age. They come against you and attack you and smear your name with other family members. As time goes on, it just gets worse. The sister that I keep talking about to you guys, she ended up living with me for 10 years. That is a whole decade. I sacrificed a lot of my 20s to be there for her through her bipolar disorder, being there for her because my mother really wasn't there. She was focused on the younger siblings, 2 hours away. And I respected that. I stepped up and I took the place to take care of my sister. I felt that she needed me. And as empaths, sometimes we use people as supplies as well. And we can be codependent. We can feel that we need someone to need us. Because we lacked this love from that parent, sometimes we grow up thinking that we need someone to be there that we can take care of, even when it's hurting us. We feel like we have to. And when you're an older sibling, and when you're African and your people are African, you take on responsibilities that you really should not from a very young age. You're a whole mother at 6 years old. You're a whole mother at 9 years old, cooking, cleaning, doing laundry, changing diapers. What? That is some crazy abusive shit. And in the country that I'm from, they don't look at it like that, sadly, but that's the truth. That's just what it is. It's straight up abuse. And it forces people to grow up fast. It forces you to want to grow up fast. It forces women to want to be a wife at an early age when they should be living their best life in their 20s. I spent my 20s in relationships, trying to be settled with a man, trying to be settled with men. It wasn't until about 27 that I was like, let me enjoy being single. Why the hell am I always in a relationship? Why am I always trying to be in a relationship, be fully committed, and be given wifely duties to these men? It's because I was programmed like that. I was so used to just being so nurturing, picking up the slack that my mother could not give to her children, unfortunately. Trying to fill the void of love to my siblings. Always showing up for birthday parties and holidays with money and gifts to make up for stuff that I didn't get. But eventually, y'all, I got burnt out and I had to run away from all that. I had to say, you know what, God? I leave this all in your hands. I am going to allow you to handle this because the younger siblings are not going to understand. At this point, they've been completely turned against me. My sister left me in 2017. She deleted our YouTube channel. We had a sister channel going on. We had both been going through therapy. We were understanding that we had a narcissistic mother. We were starting to lay boundaries. And then I started telling her she had to work and pay bills, something she never heard really come out of my mouth in those 10 years. And that made her switch up on me. I came home one day from work while we were homeless, laying on someone else's floor. This girl worked a job for 2 weeks, got the paycheck, booked the flight, went back to my mother's home and completely smeared my name. She went and told them all my business. Every sexual adventure I've had and shared with her in those 10 years that I thought we grew close. No, that narcissistic sibling grew close to me to use everything she knew about me against me, went back home and destroyed me, sent videos of me doing inappropriate things to our family members. It was that serious. That was when I realized how crazy the dynamic of the family was with my mother. I was like, wow, you have really been programmed to be against me your entire life. And you were able to pretend to be with me for 10 years until I started waking up and setting boundaries with you and saying, sis, I can't take care of you. You need to work. You need to get on your shit. You need to learn how to drive. You need to get your own apartment. You need to pay your own rent. I'm tired of getting evicted because you can't help with bills. I'm tired of using your bipolar disorder as an excuse for you not to work. Complete narcissistic traits from her. And I used to think that it was just her being sick, but it wasn't. It wasn't just her being sick with bipolar disorder. The sickness was straight narcissism. The sickness was passed down from our mother. A distorted maternal legacy. The narcissistic parent literally make siblings enemies to each other. If that's not demonic, I don't know what you define to be demonic and evil at this point. The devil was assigned to attack your life since childhood. Went through your parents, went through your siblings. But look at you though, you still standing. If you're watching this today, you're definitely still standing. They did not kill you. They could not get you. Some of you were beaten down so bad by narcissistic parents and siblings that you're now sick. You're bedridden. You can't even do shit. Your health is deteriorated because of the lack of love and the hate. Fast forward to 2019, I started a podcast about narcissistic abuse. I started a podcast and somehow my sister and my mother got a hold of it and found out. And I started getting hate mail from my sister. The person who was just supporting me 2-3 years ago, understanding that our mother abused us, now telling me, how can I spread these lies about our mother and make her look such and make her look bad? How can I lie and tell the world that I was abused when it wasn't true? The same sister who witnessed the abuse, the same sister who watched my mother treat me differently from her growing up, the same sister who now doesn't know how to cook and clean because she never had to because I did it all. The same sister who knows that I have been a mother to her my entire life, now telling me that I am lying and sharing lies and I am destroying the family's name. Can you imagine that? That is the training from the narcissistic abuse from the family, the narcissistic abuse from the parents. To the point where my sister has a hard time forming a relationship with my father because I have a better relationship with my father than I do with my mother, because he was not abusive in that way that she was. He may have had his narcissistic traits, but he was a loving parent. He asked me how my day was. He asked me why I looked sad. He asked me why I was not speaking all day. He was a concerned parent. He asked me if I ate. He made me feel like I existed at home. That was the difference between him and my mother. And you guys, it has taken me so long to be able to sit here and share these things with you guys and share this and talk about this without being mad, without being angry, without being sad and tearful, because I've learned to just let God take over. As we speak today, my mother and my sister, they're not in a great position in their life. They're not happy, and I know that. Other people might see them and they might think they are living a happy, blissful, joyous life, but I know that they are internally in guilt. They are internally living a shameful life. They are forever envious of me, my accomplishments, whether I overdid it or not. They are envious of the fact that I have peace in my life, no matter what my life brings, no matter what I look like, no matter what I choose to look like, how I choose to wear my hair, where I choose to travel, what I choose to do with my life and spend my time doing, no matter what type of things I enjoy doing, all the things that they tried to keep me from doing and being as a person. They now see it. They now see the light. And it's torturing them, and I know that. And one day they're going to watch this video and it's going to be hate, and I'm ready for it. I don't care. I don't care. They can take it up with Jesus. let God deal with it, because that's what I had to do. I got tired of y'all shit, and I let God deal with it. And for the sake of my younger siblings, I keep the relationship cordial. I keep it cordial, but I keep it very distant. I talk to them on my terms, and they have to live with that, because they caused me great pain throughout my life to try to destroy my name and try to shame me the way that they did. That just was so evil. That was so evil. And I'm going to let God deal with forgiving them for that. I am going to continue to move on in my life, though, because I have learned, like I mentioned in the beginning, I have learned what this is. I now know what's going on, and they don't have no power over me. And they sure as hell can't talk to me and talk about me like they used to, because my life shows for itself. And that's the best thing you can do, is learn about this. Let your life show for itself. A lot of y'all are great people, good people, talented people. Take a hold of your power and shit on your sister and brother. Shit on your mom and dad. They ain't talking about nothing. They cannot stop you from being great. They can talk about you all day till they blue in the face. But if it ain't true, it ain't true. Yeah, I said it. All right, y'all. It's your girl, Mommy So True. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time.